Hello, my name is David Rouault. Yes, that's how to pronounce it. I'm the principal trumpet of the Macher Orchestra, and this since 2003. I was that tall when I started. I'm here to introduce to you what some people consider the most amazing instrument ever made, the trumpet. The trumpet is part of the brass family. Now you're probably wondering, what does define a brass instrument? Very good question indeed. Thank you. A brass instrument is defined by how we make the sound. It actually defines all the different family instruments. But the brass instruments are part of a very few instruments where the sound is actually not made by the instruments, but by the player. So we do produce the sound by making the lips vibrating like this. And now we all use this part of the all brass instrument, which is the mouthpiece, which helps to focus that vibration. And then in the trumpet, which will transform and amplify that sound. Now you're probably dying to ask, but how does the trumpet work? Well, very good question indeed. You're an amazing audience. The trumpet is basically an improved bugle. The bugle being this instrument you hear when the cavalry is coming to rescue, or when you did your military service. That's this beautiful instrument that wakes you up at 5 in the morning. So if I play the trumpet like this, without using here the pistons or valves, this is like a bugle. Now you can see that for each valve corresponds one slide. Starting here with the second valve, corresponds here the smallest slide. Then the first valve, here a slide which is twice longer. And then the third valve here is the third slide, which is about 3 times the length of the second slide. So every time I push a valve, I make the trumpet longer. And as you all know your basics of physics, the longer or bigger an instrument, the lower the tone. So now if I do play the trumpet just by using the second valve, it does this. And then the first valve. And then the third valve, and eventually the first and second, which is about the same length. So that's how the trumpet is able to play all the notes of the chromatic scale by combining the different valves and the different harmonics. And that's 2.5 octaves, which is the basic impetus of the trumpet. Next, I want to introduce to you what all the brass instruments are using from time to time, which is called the mute. And unlike the name is indicating, the mute is not made so much to mute the instrument than to change the sound of it. That's why we have a lot of different types of mutes. And today I selected 4 of the most significant ones. The first one is by far the most commonly used in orchestra, chamber music, concerto, you name it, and it's called the straight mute. By the way, in French we call it la sourdine sèche, which literally means the dry mute, as it does really make the sound much drier. To demonstrate this mute, I chose a piece written by Igor Stravinsky, as we're celebrating this year, 2021, the 50th anniversary of his death, and next year, 2022, we will be celebrating the 140th anniversary of his birth. Isn't that something? It's from a piece called L'Oiseau de Feu, Firebird. And I put together the second trumpet part and the first trumpet part together. As the second trumpet starts being open, meaning without mute, and the first trumpet answers using the straight mute. So it goes like this. The second mute I want to show you is basically a straight mute with something that looks like a cup at its base. And since brass players are very creative, it's actually called a cup mute. To show you this mute, I chose a music by George Gershwin, his Piano Concerto in F, the second movement, where there is this beautiful solo for trumpet. It's actually indicated to be played in a hat, but very often people use the cup mute as it gives a very similar sound, smooth and muffled. Next mute is the most peculiar one. First of all, because of its funny shape. Second, because it's actually two in one. And third, because it gives the most peculiar sound. If I do play the mute like this, with this stem in, it's called the wah-wah mute. And this is why. Now, if I take this stem off, we have another mute called the Harmon mute, with the most distinctive sound, which was made famous by Miles Davis or Dizzy Gillespie. So I chose a piece by Dizzy Gillespie, very famous piece called Night in Tunisia. Let's hope it will be a night in tune. As you heard, very special sound. It's got almost an electric tone to it. To finish, we have something called the plunger mute. And yes, it is what you think it is, but it's never been in a bathroom before, and I bought it in a local supermarket, but it does the job very well. Also very often used in jazz, for example, in the opening of a famous musical, Chicago. That's it for now. Next time I will be introducing to you the different instruments of the trumpet family. So stay tuned and stay safe.